Did LA give up too much to get a guy who has been labeled soft, although he puts up 19 and 9, which only 11 other guys do?
Is that a trick question?
You tell me.
They gave up Kwame Brown.
Two first rounders.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Shawn Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Shawn David.
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Shawn David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk about NBA, or let's say considered NBA busts that to me had a tough time in the NBA and who I actually feel sorry for. And the reason why I'm actually doing this video is in the past couple of years, when you dive in so many topics and you see so many documentaries and you see so many stories about players, you always have to remember we're talking about human beings. And some players, even though they never performed on the level that people were expecting, sometimes it wasn't even their fault. And I think that we as fans, analysts, TV journalists and everything, we did them wrong. And in this video, I want to talk about those guys. So let's take a look. All right, now the first player that I want to talk about is Shawn Bradley. If you remember Shawn Bradley, he was the 7'6" tall monster who used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers, for the Dallas Mavericks, and the New Jersey Nets. And when he came into the NBA, the hype was huge. People were thinking that this guy potentially could not only be an NBA superstar, but probably be the face of the NBA. He was that good in people's eyes. And when he got drafted, his team was even willing to accept that he was sitting out seasons in college, that he was doing his missionary work. And if I would have drafted him, I probably would have thought, okay, this guy might be worth it because his skill set was great. He had a solid post game, not as sensational, but solid, very good fundamentals. He was super tall, obviously, a great shot blocker. And you would think in that era, size really, really mattered. And sky could be the limit for this guy. Now in hindsight, which is 2020, as we know, you would think, okay, this guy always had other priorities next to basketball. Basketball was never his main thing, and he was open about it even in college. And I think if a player as honest as Shawn Bradley admits to something like that, then you can also expect that he would never reach his full potential. If you're not 100% dedicated to something, it is, of course, he's not going to reach his full potential. And after a couple of seasons, I mean, his rookie season was okayish, he became the poster guy. Everybody dunked on him. People made fun of him. And I think he did not deserve that. I think he was always a great guy. I talked to many of his former teammates. They all said that he was a great guy, that if he was in the gym, he would give his all. He was very professional. And I think he did not deserve to be laughed at and made fun of and all that kind of stuff. And yes, of course, expectations were higher and he never fulfilled that. But at the end, we're still talking about a human being with feelings. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but unfortunately, his life currently is also not the greatest. Let's take a look.
Jim, we're in Dallas, and this is just such a great sight to see. You know the name, Shawn Bradley is in attendance. Shawn Bradley played with the Mavericks. He was part of the trade with you between the Nets and the Mavericks in 1997. And obviously, it's been a hard last year plus. Shawn Bradley was injured in a bicycle accident last year in Utah, paralyzed from the neck down. He moved to Dallas with his family to rehabilitate and to be here as he waves to Jimmy.
Now, the next player that I want to talk about is Sam Bowie. Now, Sam Bowie, to most NBA fans, will always be the guy who got drafted ahead of Michael Jordan. It was the 1984 NBA draft. As we know, Hakeem Olajuwon was number 1, and number 2 was Sam Bowie right before Michael Jordan. And when the Portland Trailblazers drafted him, obviously, at first, they wanted to have Hakeem Olajuwon. Size mattered, as we already mentioned. And with Sam Bowie, the potential, again, sky was the limit. He was such a great college player, especially before his injuries. Now, before his injuries, this guy was a monster. He had a skill set that not many players had, especially in the center position. And then he had this huge accident in a college game, had to sit out a lot of games, and the Portland Trail Blazers, they gambled. They took a risk on Bowie. And they even asked him, like, hey, do you have pains? And he lied. And he explains in his 30-30 documentary that the reason why he lied was, hey, I had to provide for my family. I didn't want to disappoint them, so I said everything was fine. Now, obviously, now we know that he was never fine. His NBA career was very underwhelming because he could never perform on a high level. Always injuries. Like, I think the guy was injured like 6 times or so. He only played like half of the games. But, and that's the other thing, I still think he was not a bad guy, and I really believe that he gave it his all. Because if you come back from so many injuries and you try it again and try it again, it shows dedication. It really shows that he wanted to. There are so many players who would give up after 2 big injuries and say, hey, I got my money, I'm out of here. But Sam really tried. And to me, it's very unfortunate that even until today, people laugh at him, say, oh, he was a bust. How can he be drafted ahead of Michael Jordan? Yeah, feel sorry for the guy. And hey, don't get me wrong. It's not like every NBA player did not deserve criticism. There are a lot of players who simply didn't work, who were troublemakers, who showed like no dedication at all, who lied in their interviews at first, but then again entered the NBA, didn't do anything. That's a different story. But for the guys who tried or openly said what was on their mind in college, I think it's a different story. Yeah, but hey, Sam, sad story.
We just couldn't depend on him because of the health problems. It wasn't anything to do with Sam. It's just his body just didn't have it.
We were awfully good, and I think had he not gotten hurt, it would have been very, very interesting.
If he'd have stayed injury-free, I mean, we'd have definitely won some more championships in Portland.
Sam Bowie was a very promising player, but sadly, like way too many Blazer centers, his leg just wouldn't hold up.
And the last player on my list is going to be Kwame Brown. Now, in the past couple of years, Kwame became an internet celebrity because he was very open about certain things, not allowing people to talk bad about him, which I think is good. I think he suffered enough in his NBA time. And of course, I understand that he never performed on a decent NBA level. Okay, I want to correct myself. He was okayish at some point in his prime, so to speak. But to me, it was not his fault that he was drafted at number 1. I think, and I love Michael Jordan. I mean, you guys know me. Jordan is my favorite player of all time. But to me, Kwame never should have been the number 1 draft pick. And I think if Kwame would have been a top, I don't know, like number 9 or number 10, people would say, one of the guys who didn't live up to expectations, but he never should have been number 1. There were so many things that you could see, even in his pre-NBA days, where you see like 2 little hands, not the most physical player. I mean, there are young players where you already see that they have the right mindset and all other attributes. But with Kwame, it was never that bad. And to him, I think the NBA and fans and journalists and they were too hard on him. I mean, take a look at the next clip. I mean, come on, a little respect. We're still talking about a human being.
Which will determine who is saddled with Kwame's perennially disappointing numbers and bad attitude next year. Of course, the Bobcats lost last year, forcing them to waste a roster spot that could have been used on a player who doesn't regard the game of basketball as beneath contempt. The NBA's bottom 9 teams represented here tonight. And just moments ago, the deputy commissioner announced the final 3 teams in the running for Kwame.
Sacramento Kings.
The Kings.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves.
Philadelphia 76ers.
And the 76ers. Brutal news for those 3 teams. Wouldn't be surprised if the loser just folds up the franchise. You're going to get torpedoed either way. Don't give Kwame the satisfaction. No doubt. Good dome fact, though, I find it hard to believe Kwame would apologize for anything. Yeah, probably passive-aggressive and unfeeling, knowing him. Right now, they're ready to announce which NBA team will be the loser of this year's Kwame Brown lottery. Our OSN team is standing by live. They're waiting on us, so let's go.
Welcome back. 2 of these 3 teams will walk away winners tonight. The other will be burdened with human garbage, Kwame Brown.
All right, you guys. I know not everybody will like this video, but hey, I want to share more honest opinions, and not every of my opinion will be popular. I understand, but at the end of the day, and this is something that I feel as a grown man, that everybody wants to be treated with respect, and even if you disappoint people because you can't perform as people hoped and expected of you, still you want people not to make fun of you, and it just has to be a terrible feeling going to bed knowing that everybody dislikes you, laughs at you, is making fun of you. And I think we, especially older guys, older folks, I mean, we grow up, we get more mature, we know better. And that's also a thing that I like about the old school community now. I mean, we're all getting older. This is also what I see on my channel. Many people are very respectful, and this is what I love about you guys. So thank you again. I think our show has a high percentage of respectful people, and this is what I love. Anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.